For so many people, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, released in 2007, is the greatest LEGO game ever made. It was the perfect blend of Star Wars, tongue-in-cheek humor, family-friendly co-op mechanics, and cheeky cutscenes. Which is why the Skywalker Saga is borrowing nearly everything from The Complete Saga. Hey everyone, it's Andrew! Oh my gosh, there's a rebel in a wheelbarrow! If you sprint around as Ben Kenobi, keep running, so much running. When you stop running, the poor old guy will bend over, put his hands on his knees, and look tired. Oh, trying to get a breath in. Boy, that was a lot of running for an old man. Did you know that in the Complete Saga, you get a trophy for getting 17,000 studs called You've Got Yourself a Ship, which is a reference to how much Han Solo charged Luke and Obi-Wan in Episode 4 for a trip in the Millennium Falcon.
17. Okay, you guys got yourselves a ship.
There's a side mission on Yavin 4 that references the Massassi, which are an ancient civilization that were enslaved to build the temples on Yavin 4 in the expanded universe. There's a Kyber brick in the Death Star canteen called Cake or Death, which is a reference to British comedian Eddie Izzard, who has a bit called Death Star Canteen in their special called Cake or Death.
What, Jeff Vader runs the Death Star? No, I run the Death Star. You Jeff Vader? No, I'm Darth Vader.
There's another achievement in the Skywalker Saga called the Chewbacca Defense, which is a reference to South Park, which, according to Wikipedia, and no, not Wikipedia, even though we're talking about Wookiees, is a legal strategy in which a defense lawyer tries to confuse the jury. And this term comes from the 1998 episode Chef Aid, which is a satire of the O.J. Simpson murder trial.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chewbacca.
In the Skywalker Saga on Dagobah, if you wander up to the clearing in the northwest of the Dragon Snake Bog, you'll find a tripedal artificial structure, and this is an E3 standard starship lifeboat, the same craft that took Yoda to Dagobah to escape the Jedi Purge, the one we see him get into on Kashyyyk, and then he gets out of it in the deleted scene. During the opening mission of A New Hope, R2-D2 and C-3PO hurry to an escape pod aboard the Tantive IV, and the outer door of this escape pod actually reads Droid-O-Matic. At the Imperial Security Checkpoint in Mos Eisley, a stormtrooper is reading a newspaper with the headline, Blue Milk Sales Up. This is probably because Luke just continues to drink loads and copious amounts of blue milk. He cannot stop. The man is an addict. Did you know that almost every character in new LEGO Star Wars is based on a real-life LEGO minifigure? For example, these Royal Guards with the lightsaber-like staffs are from the 2016 Death Star set. While on Dagobah during The Empire Strikes Back, Luke carries a photo of himself, Han, and Leia as they appeared in A New Hope. The caption on the photo is family. Aww. In Maz Kanata's castle on Takodana, there are 3 posters hanging up featuring images of musicians. I don't know what the first 2 are, but the poster on the right reads Jazz Halixet and features a character playing a guitar-like instrument from Naboo. The Halixet first appeared in the background in The Force Awakens, but is probably more commonly known from Jedi Fallen Order, where Cal Kestis plays it after using his Force Echo ability and learning how to play the guitar instantly. Man, I wish I could do that. I wish it was that easy. So Captain Antilles is making his way down the hallway and gets himself a cup of coffee from this coffee dispenser. Man, that's the first thing I'd do in a crisis as well. Ships being invaded, we're probably all gonna die. Quick, time for one last cup of coffee.
I need it. I'm addicted.
Anyway, this is actually a reference to LEGO Star Wars Complete Saga. Right at the start of Secret Plans is this machine here, which produces infinite LEGO studs. Just keep on pulling that lever and I'm rich! Qui-Gon about to go off and start a new life somewhere with all the cash. Forget Naboo. He's gonna go to his own little holiday island and be chilling with the Sunnies. But anyway, I'm pretty sure this is actually a coffee dispenser, because if we go here and build this, there are a couple of coffee mugs on the table. Lots of coffee throughout LEGO Star Wars games actually. Clone Wars had a bunch. Obi-Wan here is also drinking some Jawa juice while slaying battle droids. In the new LEGO Star Wars, we get to witness one of the most brutal LEGO Star Wars scenes ever. As soon as the door opens, this guy has already lost his pants and face plants into the ground. This guy picked up and slammed against the glass. Guy behind him has his helmet turned backwards. He's the lucky one. Pajama Man launched into the ceiling and gets his head stuck in the light fitting. Vader twirling his saber Darth Maul style, and then, after a brief cutscene, Vader is nowhere to be seen. This guy here is already dead on the ground, and this guy, I think, just wet his pants. But did you know this entire scene was actually influenced by a brief moment in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga? If you pull these levers, a window will open, revealing Vader brutally choking this poor rebel, and he explodes to pieces. Then 15 years later, ladies and gentlemen, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. The Ewok here on Endor is holding this stormtrooper down by his helmet, performing a takedown. And just behind Chewie, there's an Ewok using another stormtrooper as a trampoline. Just behind the Rancor here, sitting up against the wall, we can see a skeleton who looks like he was once the Rancor guard. There's also a Gamorrean guard standing next to Luke on the left, non-skeleton form. In the Skywalker Saga, Princess Leia takes off R2-D2's head and slams in the Death Star plans as if he's a trash can, and then puts the lid back on. Also, did you notice the Death Star plans actually look like the Death Star data card hard drive thingy from Rogue One that we see? Leia sticks around, trying to figure out R2-D2's instruction manual. This here reads R2 droid tech spec. Number 1, secret plans, stolen. Number 2, power charge coupler. And number 3, holo projector. Literally instructions on where she put the plans and how to access them. In LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, Darth Vader is giving Captain Antilles a really hard time. Standing on some poor rebel, holding Antilles by one leg, lifts him into the air and shakes out all his spare change. There's another separate cutscene at the end of the level, and while talking to Leia and the others, Vader is still torturing poor Antilles. He doesn't let him go until the end of the cutscene. I swear, Vader is the biggest bully ever. Poor Antilles, man. He was just trying to run the ship, have his coffee earlier, and now this. He has to deal with being held up by the foot by a lonely maniac that killed his own wife. At the end of The Last Jedi, Chewbacca sits at the wounded Rose Tico's bedside reading a book, and after a moment he throws the book away and picks up a new one entitled Among Clouds. And the cover features young Lando Calrissian offering a bouquet of flowers to his droid Leet. There's a side mission in the Skywalker Saga to track down Malakili, who's Jabba's Rancor trainer, and the mission is called Green Harvest, which is reference to Blue Harvest, which was the production name for Return of the Jedi. While infiltrating the Star Destroyer in The Rise of Skywalker, Rey has to mind trick a stormtrooper to open a door. And Poe thinks aloud,
"Did she do that to us?"
What's interesting is that in one of the discarded scripts for Episode 9, Rey does exactly that. Uses her powers to force Poe to leave her behind so that she can complete her dangerous final mission alone. She uses the Force to manipulate Poe. That's some dark side stuff right there. In the middle of the chase through the asteroid field in The Empire Strikes Back, there's a gag in which we can see the Millennium Falcon from above as it spins around, firing projectiles in all directions, which is a reference to the old arcade game Asteroids. I played that back on my Windows 95. Does that tell you all how old I am? There's actually a Goonies reference on Kef Bir in the side quest where some treasure hunters use a map to find one-eyed Wookiee's treasure. Did you know that Princess Leia's accent has subtle changes throughout A New Hope? She originally started with more of an English accent, but then goes to her more natural American as the film progresses.
The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
And this is actually referenced in the mumble mode version of the Skywalker Saga. If you have mumble mode turned on, you kind of hear her progressively become more American. Did you know that you can actually find a clone of Jar Jar Binks on Exegol? Or maybe it is Jar Jar Binks himself. It's in one of Palpatine's cloning vats, the ones where Snoke comes out of. Jar Jar is also here, which proves that Jar Jar is indeed also the Sith Lord we are all looking for, like I keep telling you all. At the end of Episode 5, there's a cutscene where Luke's robot hand starts running away, which is a reference to the severed hand from the Addams family. On old Ben Kenobi's arm, you can actually see the copyright LEGO logo, as if it's the real LEGO minifigure. You can also see the logo on Luke's arm as he nearly kills himself with his dad's lightsaber. And this is a reference to the shot of Mark Hamill looking directly down the lightsaber when he was in Obi-Wan's little hut here. For those wondering, no, he doesn't actually do this in the film. It's just a behind the scenes photo, which up until a few years ago, Mark Hamill himself wasn't even sure of. He's like, guys, did I do this in the film? Old Ben Kenobi also has a bunch of photos up on his wall with good times from the Clone Wars. Here he's chilling with Commander Cody, and here he's dancing with Anakin and a bunch of clones. Now, imagine the Empire just show up looking for old Obi-Wan and they find his little hut when he's out, and they're like, this new short LEGO Star Wars animation is hilarious and honestly quite unexpected because it did something unexpected. It showed us what happens when Palpatine takes Darth Vader on a holiday. Now, first of all, the whole premise of this animation is quite ridiculous, seeing as though it takes place on the Halcyon Galactic Star Cruiser, which is Disney's Star Wars hotel, which was recently announced to be closing due to not being that successful and also being way too expensive. Hey guys, maybe it's not successful because it was so expensive. Did you think of that? Maybe people don't want want to spend $5,000 to come stay in a Star Wars hotel for only 2 nights. Just a thought. But that's where Vader's vacation begins. Palpatine and Vader are aboard the Halcyon and are about to embark on a holiday, which also doesn't really make sense, seeing as though this is where the LEGO Star Wars Summer Vacation movie also begins. The sequel's crew are all here on the Halcyon ship, being greeted by a hologram of Lando Calrissian.
Look, guys, it's Lando!
Maybe the hotel has days where light side characters can come and then days where Sith Lords can come. You wouldn't want to really mix the two together though, would you? Okay, first up, this here, the Aurebesh writing, Star Wars language. You guys have probably seen this written in literally every Star Wars thing ever created. This says L Day, which means Life Day, the Wookiee holiday celebrated in the holiday special. Originally created for the original holiday special, but then made Star Wars canon later on. It's referenced in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I was hoping to be free for Life Day.
And now it's here. Okay, so when Rey is trying to teach Finn how to become a Jedi and use the Force, the main lesson here is to let go.
Remember, a Jedi
Must let go.
Which is exactly what Obi-Wan says to Luke while he's flying the trench run.
Let go.
After Finn proves himself useless with an actual lightsaber, Rey gives him this wooden stick, a wooden lightsaber or a training saber, and this looks really similar to the training sabers or sticks we see in Star Wars Rebels when Sabine is being trained. You can see here there's a BB-8 on Poe's sweater, and here's another Aurebesh translation, but this one kind of surprised me. This here says Sidious. What? Which is really strange because she's talking about a Jedi's future becoming clear with a key to the galaxy's past. So obviously Rey doesn't know how to read Aurebesh, otherwise she would have seen the warning here about her grandfather, I guess, Palpatine Sidious, in the book that's telling her where to go to embark on this entire adventure. Terrifying Tales begins on Mustafar and Vader's castle, and this room in which Vader basks in the glory of his new castle might look familiar. It's the same room where he gazed out the window alongside director Krennic before reminding the director to not choke on his aspirations. You'll notice the window is the same shape. Vader and Palps then meet Vinay, the creepy castle caretaker, but in Lego form, he's not really that recognizable. He's this guy here from Rogue One, the same guy who prepares Darth Vader's bath. You remember the scene from Rogue One? Vader dramatically walks out to meet Krennic. All that steam is from his bath. What did you think? They had smoke machines installed? Vader was like, yeah, put in the smoke machines. I need dramatic entrances are a real thing for me. I need to keep that happening. No, he was just taking a soak. Steam everywhere. Anyway, the bath in Rogue One is more blue-white, whereas in Lego, it's pink. He added one of those, you know how when you have a bubble bath, you can put in one of those colored things? That's what he was doing here. That's what Vinay's prepared. In the series, Luke Skywalker is wearing the necklace that Anakin gave to Padme. Maul is wearing Lando Calrissian's clothes, in particular this yellow outfit and cape. And Maul is also not evil. In fact, he works for the Rebellion, similar to Lando in the real Star Wars universe.
I got in touch with the Rebellion just like you asked, but by the time I did, you were gone.
Vader is struggling to get into the holiday spirit. He's caught up with work and trying to decode this data card with the locations of all Rebel bases. But what's interesting is that when Vader is decrypting this data card, we can actually see it's the galaxy map from LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. That's what he's looking at here. And the data card is also one of the data cards you can collect in the game. A lot of stuff from LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga here, guys. There's more coming, you'll see. Also, if you notice, the device Vader is using to decode the data card looks kind of like a Game Boy Advance, and he's put the data card in the same spot that you put a game in the Game Boy. It looks like he's got a Game Boy Color game in there, sticking out the top like it's too big for it. Now this has to be one of the darkest things I've seen in all of LEGO Star Wars. When Palpatine shouts, he electrocutes all of the poor stormtroopers that are swimming in the hotel pool. Now, I'm no scientist, but from what I know, when electricity hits water like this, everyone dies. These two stormtroopers here butt heads. This Imperial officer has the Empire's logo on his bathing suit. And you'll notice a lot of the stormtroopers are actually dressed like the hot tub troopers from LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Remember those guys you can run into on the Tantive IV? You open it up and they're just having a hot tub bath, just chilling there. And you're like, maybe I shouldn't have opened this door. And these guys, of course, are a reference to the stormtroopers in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, the ones in the stripy bathing suits. Rose Tico has an emoji on her belt. See a little face down there, little proud of itself face. As Rey enters the atmosphere on Cordoku, this new ice snow planet here. You'll see all around there's Christmas trees. What are they, like pine trees, or I'm not sure, but they're the native tree of this planet in this area, it seems. This temple sequence, I've talked about this before, it looks like it's taken straight out of Jedi Fallen Order. This shot looks pretty much exactly the same as a shot of Cal opening one of the tombs in Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, 3 of my 4 favorite seconds in the film.
Who cares about a trade dispute?
And at the table Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are sitting at, you can see a couple of N1 Naboo starfighters. Little toys there, Lego toys sitting on the table. And Obi-Wan actually spins one with the Force. Poe Dameron is being chased by a bunch of First Order TIE fighters. Although, there's a problem. These aren't First Order TIE pilots. They look like these. These are just regular old Imperial TIE pilots. Not sure if this is an error on Lego or Lucasfilm's part, or if this is intentional for some reason. Maybe they're Imperial remnants, you know? You build your own headcanon and we go with that. Even though Poe easily took out the TIE fighters, his X-Wing got hit in the process. And here, if you listen very carefully, you can hear a familiar sound.
Don't be such a worry wampa. I got it.
This is the same sound effect from Battlefront 2 when your fighter is low on health. As Poe heads towards Mustafar for a crash landing, another planet can be seen behind Mustafar. This planet is known as Jestafard, which was also seen in Revenge of the Sith. It's one of 3 planets in the Mustafar system, the other being Lafrani, and there's also the oceanic moon Nur, where you face Vader at the end of Jedi Fallen Order. Calculator Kestis freaking out because he's about to get killed. Down on the planet's surface, you might have noticed the trees, but wait, hold up. Mustafar doesn't have trees, it's a lava planet. Well, you know that scene at the start of The Rise of Skywalker where Kylo's going nuts with the lightsaber? This is actually Mustafar, and he comes here to retrieve a Sith holocron, similar to the holocron we see later in this special. So why does Mustafar have trees? Well, it's healing after what happened in the Vader Immortal VR series. Jedi Bob finally makes his appearance on screen, acting as the Obi-Wan Kenobi-style mentor in this series. His full name is Jedi Master Barbarian Afol.
Jedi Master Barbarian Afol.
And if you didn't know, Jedi Bob comes from the 2002 Republic gunship Lego set, where he was just a random Jedi. The internet began calling him Jedi Bob, and his last name Afol is likely based on the acronym AFOL, which means Adult Fans of Lego. Darth Jar Jar admits to having always been the Phantom Menace, which means yes, the rumors were true. Finally, Lucasfilm are confirming this. I'm taking this as 100% canon. Darth Jar Jar is the Sith Lord behind everything. Prove me wrong. I've been trying to tell people this for years, as have many others. In episode 3 of Rebuild the Galaxy, Han Solo says the line,
"Don't get cocky, kid. I've had softer landings aboard Star Tours."
Which is a reference to the Star Tours Disneyland ride, which was the first ever Star Wars themed ride at any of the Disneyland parks, first opening in 1987. The original Star Tours was then closed in 2010 and reopened as Star Tours The Adventures Continue in 2011. And this ride is still updated to this day, with the most recent ride updates being from the Ahsoka series at the time of me recording this. In fact, each time you ride Star Tours, it's generally a different ride, and you'll travel to different Star Wars themed locations, and yes, it is pretty bumpy, which is why I think it's funny that Han Solo says this in the Lego series. Now, this whole time, R2-D2 has been spying on Vader and Palpatine, trying to get the data card back. And in this scene, he's wrapped in towels that feature the Chandrilla Starline logo, which is the logo of the company that runs the Galactic Star Cruiser. So Palpatine wants to go for a swim all on his own in the pool. He's excited that the pool is now empty because he's just killed everyone that was inside.
Zippity-zappity! Lightning storm! Everyone out!
Vader reluctantly decides to get in the pool with Palpatine, but he knows to not actually get in the pool. He stays on top of the pool's surface, on this floaty, because he knows that at some point Palpatine will get a bit carried away and likely electrocute everyone and everything in the pool.
Lightning storm!
So this is where things get real interesting. Palpatine has decided to book a private excursion to the beach planet Niamos. You might remember this planet from Andor, the Miami Beach planet, the one where Andor gets arrested and then sent off to a prison and then tortured for quite some time. It also has the sweet beats. You guys remember that scene? And Vader is shocked. This is his reaction.
A beach planet?
Yeah, isn't it great?
And then Palpatine remembers.
Oh, right, your whole sand thing. I don't like sand.
The words "hello there" are said a total of 4 times in the film. Here's the first one.
Hello there.
And here's the other 3.
Hello there.
The Rebel assault on the Death Star is a shot-by-shot recreation of this scene from A New Hope, however with some minor differences. In the LEGO version, all you see is X-Wings here, but in the actual version, you get some Y-Wings as well in the background. And I only just learned that this shot was actually digitally added later on. This wasn't in the original film. Here you can see a gonk droid made from ice, and this is actually one of the figures available in the LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar for 2020. In fact, a lot of what you see in the film is from the LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar, or is included in it. I'll show you more later. Okay, good job, Poe. Holding the corpse of a space chicken in the engine thrusters of the Falcon to try and cook it. Come on, man. That poor chicken. So, in the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special, Darth Vader gives Emperor Palpatine a mug that says, "Galaxy's Best Emperor."
Galaxy's Best Emperor.
And this is actually a reference to LEGO Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures, another series that aired a few years ago.
Galaxy's Best Emperor.
And we get pretty much exactly the same scene and exactly the same reaction.
Best? Vader, I'm the galaxy's only emperor. Of course I'm the galaxy's best emperor. I'm the galaxy's only emperor. Meh.
Palpatine doesn't like being given mugs.
I had to hit every gift shop on Batu to find you that.
Vader just mentioned the planet Batu, and this is a reference to the Galaxy's Edge theme parks at Disneyland. Disney trying to chuck in some marketing there, trying to get people to come and spend money at their gift shops at Galaxy's Edge. Batu is the planet on which Galaxy's Edge exists. So Poe and BB-8 make their way to Vader's fortress, and this Aurebesh reads Castle Vader on the front, and they meet Graballa the Hutt, who's from the LEGO Freemaker Adventures series. He also has two henchmen who are Iktochi, the same species as Jedi Master CC Tin, who was the second Jedi to be stabbed by Palpatine. Now, to help build Castle Vader, the galaxy's first Sith-inspired hotel, Graballa has employed a bunch of Clone Wars-era B-1 battle droids. You can see a bunch of them working. This one here appears to be on his lunch break, just sitting, similar to the battle droids in the secret LEGO Star Wars Complete Saga room. And there's also a lot of Imperial equipment here. There's an AT-ST, an AT-AT, both of which I'm assuming are being driven by battle droids. They've brought them back. After everyone enters the castle and we see all the troopers, there's a battle droid in the background which appears to be sleepwalking. What's this guy doing? So this Vader animatronic that greets everyone in the lobby of the hotel and repeatedly smacks Graballa over the head with his lightsaber, too bad it wasn't a real lightsaber, is very similar to the animatronics at the Disney theme parks. Although I've never seen one of those malfunctioning and smacking a Hutt over the head with a lightsaber.
I'll show you a dark side.
And Vader points us towards the Empire Emporium, the hotel gift shop where we can see a bunch of merch for sale. There are Vader statues, toys, busts, Vader dress-up costumes, Imperial officer caps, lightsabers, Vader helmets, mini Death Stars, and a few other smaller items. And then we meet Dean, and we learn he's from the planet Arcanus, which is the homeworld of General Hux. It's revealed that Jedi Bob and Sig are Force builders in the Rebuild the Galaxy series. But did you know Force builders originally come from the LEGO Star Wars Freemaker Adventures series, which ran from 2016 to 2017? Basically, they're an offshoot Jedi sect who are able to manipulate the Force to build art, starships, architecture, among many other things. And their headquarters is on Alastan Nor, which is where Jedi Bob says he's taking Sig at the end of Rebuild the Galaxy.
The Jedi can handle things for a bit while we travel to Alastan Nor, the force-building planet.
In Rebuild the Galaxy, Jabba the Hutt is actually a Jedi. But did you know that in Star Wars Legends, there is already a Force-sensitive Jedi Hutt? His name was Beldorian. He eventually fell to the dark side and was actually killed in a duel by Princess Leia, once she was also a Jedi. IG-11 is a Jedi in the series, which doesn't make any sense considering droids aren't Force-sensitive. Jedi Bob's old galaxy, which has been destroyed, looks like it's heavily based on the old Lego City and Newtown levels from the original Lego Star Wars. The main character, Sig, is voiced by Gaten Matarazzo.
Jedi weren't afraid to help people.
Who a lot of you might know as Dustin in Stranger Things.
Freak killer?
Padme's blaster looks similar to the S5 blaster pistol used by the Royal Naboo security services, the one with the grappling hook sticky thing. Here, little boy Annie is clutching a purple teddy bear with one eye. Anyone know what this is? Because I don't. There's also a bunch of droid arms and legs in this box behind Annie, and it appears to be raining, perhaps for dramatic effect because he looks kind of sad. Poor little Annie. On Dagobah, we see Luke training and using the Force to lift several items, R2-D2 included, and one of these items that Luke is lifting is a postcard from Bespin. That's what this is here. We're jumping to Tatooine now, and the Boonta Eve Classic pod race. This is quite a busy shot here, and a few things you might not have picked up on. There's a banter in the background, several pit droids, Qui-Gon is standing next to Anakin's pod, there's Jawa's, and also a few other pod racers. This is Odie Mandrell's pod racer, and this is Rats Terrell's pod racer, but this here is Odie Mandrell. So why is Odie Mandrell riding Rats Terrell's pod racer? This is really strange. I don't know if I've made a mistake here or if they've made a mistake, but pretty sure this is Rats Terrell's pod with Odie Mandrell behind the controls. So not sure what's going on here. If you're familiar with the channel, you probably know how much I love the old Star Wars racer game. So seeing this, I'm a little confused. Also in the pod race, Anakin puts his racing goggles over his eyes, and they're not actually hanging from the helmet. They're part of the minifigure's face, which is different to the actual real life minifigure where they do come as part of the actual helmet. They kind of clip on and off and you can slide them down over the top of his eyes. Now, this might just be a cutscene. You can actually see two of Coruscant's moons as the Naboo ships head towards Coruscant. Also, this shot is a recreation of the shot from the start of Attack of the Clones, right before Padme's escort gets blown to pieces, although in the film you can't actually see the moons. It's just Coruscant. Did you notice the way Queen Amidala walks in this game? She's like one of those robot vacuum cleaners, Roomba, cleaning up the streets of Theed Naboo. Lots of different unique walking animations in this game. Over here on the right, we can see a man wearing blue fishing in the Theed River. Leave the fish alone, man. I'm sure you're rich enough living in this place. You don't need to go take some poor fishies out of the river. Come on, just let them be. When you open the airlock on the Tantive IV so that all the stormtroopers go flying out, along with the stormtroopers, you can also see a stormtrooper pizza box, which is a reference to the pizza boxes left by the clones in LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga. They were here too. After executing Order 66, they decided to order some Uber Eats and just sit enjoying some pizza in the Jedi Temple. You can just imagine the delivery man walking through, seeing all the dead Jedi just lying all over. Oh, who wanted some pizza? Here you can also see an Indiana Jones hat, and we can also see a stormtrooper floating in space outside the airlock. And this is also a reference to the Complete Saga. There's a secret room with a button you can press, which releases stormtroopers out of the airlock. This here says emergency airlock door, so it's an actual real thing. If you walk into electricity, you'll become a skeleton and die. You know, I like me some skeletons in LEGO Star Wars games. There's a rebel trooper inside the Tantive IV who just woke up, got out of bed, and joined the fight against the Empire, all while wearing his pajamas. He later goes back to sleep when Vader sends his head through the ceiling. Sometimes stormtroopers hide in boxes. Look at this guy.
I'm in a box. It was my destiny to be here. In the box.
And the boxes say Bantha milk. Why would you drink Bantha milk when you can have a cup of Jawa juice? You need to ride like a Bantha. Seriously, that's gross. Come on, guys. This says no entry. Don't go in there. You can't anyway. Lower ranked soldiers actually stop to salute captains, even when they're frightened out of their mind, the poor guy. But literally walking down the hallway, guy after guy just keeps saluting me. When a character is knocked out or dizzy, you can actually see little X-Wings and TIE Fighters circling around their head. Oh, that's so cute. It's like little birds, except they're little X-Wings and TIE Fighters. Ah. There's an Ewok aboard the Tantive IV that's been captured by the Empire. Oh no, poor little guy. How's he gonna get out of here? We're still 2 films away from Return of the Jedi. If you open this door on the Tantive IV, you'll find a saxophone, a beach ball, a soccer ball, some boxing gloves. Man, these really active people, lots of sports here. A Bantha haversack. You know, the things on the side of the Bantha you can put stuff in. A plunger and a mini kit. It's one of the first ones you can collect in the game. The bubbles created by the droid washing machine escape pod are actual Lego pieces. Look, you can even attach it to something. It's got the thing on the bottom. As Luke is carrying Yoda on Dagobah, a lizard walks by. Oh my god, look at the little guy go. Cool to see some smaller wildlife actually in the game. This yellow sign on the floor reads "Caution, wet floor." Meanwhile, Anakin is hurling half of this ship interior at a poor battle droid. As Django goes for a walk through the streets of Coruscant, there's some Aurebesh we need to translate. This here says Hutt's Headgear, a store which I hope we'll actually be able to visit. This here says Impulse Buys, this here says Gear, and this says Shop. As Luke rides his speeder through the Tatooine desert, a ship flies overhead in the distance. To me, this looks like a T-16 Skyhopper, one of which Luke owned back on Tatooine. Behind Luke, just here, looks like Sebulba's destroyed speeder. So these stormtroopers are investigating Greedo's death in the cantina, and asking witnesses questions to find out what truly happened. Did Greedo shoot first? Did Han shoot first? Now, as Luke is leaving Hoth in his X-Wing, we can see 3 other planets or moons which appear to be orbiting the planet. In Star Wars canon, there are at least 6 planets in the Hoth system in total, and lots of moons, many moons. But I think these here could just be moons as well, because kind of small, they could just be, you know, Hoth's moons. Did you know that in both LEGO Star Wars: A Complete Saga and LEGO Star Wars: A Skywalker Saga, you can actually go to the Polynesian spa? Oh, what? Wow, dude, you're taking a shower now? Didn't you guys literally just board the ship and you're already taking a shower with your helmet on and in your underwear? No one showers without my permission on my ship. Oh my gosh, guys, seriously, this isn't even your ship. Did Vader even approve of this? You guys literally just got here, you killed my rebel friends, and now you're taking a soak in the hot tub? Well, I guess you did the same all those years ago in the Complete Saga. What? Guys, you put the Polynesian spa in an escape pod? Now, the Death Star in the Complete Saga also had its own Polynesian spa. But I mean, at least it was on the Death Star, and you had to be a stormtrooper to even get up here. Unlike these guys just completely insulting all the rebels. You're taking a bath, you just got here. Board the ship, locate the nearest hot tub, take a soak. That's the stormtrooper way.
This is the way.
As Luke comes down to land on the planet, we can see a Rodian sweeping the floor, or the sand. Why are you sweeping the sand? Dude, what are you doing? There's also a bunch of Tatooine residents, or just, you know, random people walking the streets, as well as this little creature here, which I was pretty sure at first was a womp rat, like a baby one, because they're supposed to be like 2 meters in size, so this one will obviously be a baby. They were in LEGO Star Wars 2 in the Complete Saga, and back then, pretty sure they were called womp rats. But I did some extra research, and it turns out they're actually called scurriers. They first appeared in the special edition of A New Hope. Of course, the special edition. Okay, on to Mustafar, and just after Anakin and Obi-Wan's duel, with Anakin losing and lying on the ground next to the lava, these clones and Palpatine have come to retrieve Anakin. And you can see these clone troopers here are using fishing rods to reel Anakin in. One clone trooper is reeling in his torso and the other his legs. And Anakin is actually holding his own arm with his cut off arm, or the other way around. It's pretty funny. Also, Palpatine, who looks overjoyed that he's found Anakin. It's strange he's so happy in this scene, transform Anakin into Darth Vader. But the ship he's in is the Theta class T2C shuttle. This is Palpatine's shuttle during Revenge of the Sith. We get a really quick transition of Princess Leia going from young to old with a quick switch of her hair. Here she's wearing the A New Hope hair and then switches it for her sequel hair. And just behind, C-3PO is painting his arm red for the sequels with a paint roller. Had to get his arm ready for this. This guy here behind Lando is an Ugnaught. Same species as Quill from The Mandalorian. But this one here is probably responsible for having frozen Han Solo in carbonite. He's an evil Ugnaught. Seems to be friends with Lando though. On Achu, this Lanai has a bunch of fish he's caught. Dude, leave the poor fishies in the sea. Come on, it's their home. Also, next to him on the left, to me, these look like a few folded up B-1 battle droids, maybe? No idea why they're here. Also, while we're here, these local creatures, like I just mentioned, are called Lanai. They're birds, similar to the Porgs, but they're more like the caretakers of the island. And as far as I remember, I'm pretty sure they only appear in a deleted scene where they're all having a party. Party birds. This is a mouse droid wearing a stormtrooper helmet. So at first I was like, oh wow, there's a kangaroo outline on the wall. Australia's being represented in the new LEGO Star Wars. But then I was like, well, wait, no, it's a Tauntaun. Clearly this is a Tauntaun, and clearly this is where you get yourself a Tauntaun. It's somewhere through here. Also, this character on the left has no face! Ah! On Dagobah here, we can see a bat, or some kind of flying winged creature. It looks big, and it's kind of maybe a little scary. This is the greatest LEGO face ever! This creature here on Naboo next to Jar Jar, I think, is a Picobee, small, fast-moving Reptavian. On Tatooine, you can see a sandcrawler in the distance. Also, this is Mos Eisley, but you can't actually drive to either of them. They're just in the distance, and if you try to, you will suffer a painful death. This weird noise Obi-Wan makes to scare off the Tusken Raiders is actually a crate dragon scream. Yes, crate dragon, like the one from The Mandalorian. So Obi-Wan has a storage chest inside his house, which is where he keeps Anakin's lightsaber. And here he also has a battle droid, a stormtrooper helmet, and some kind of shield. Not sure where this is from. If you can identify it, please let me know. There are so many different NPCs on Mos Eisley. This person is wearing a hat. We've got big ears over here. I can't remember what species this is. There are some Twi'leks, Rhodians, even a Mon Calamari licking a strawberry gelato. Look at this guy going wild dancing to the Cantina band. Speaking of which, oh hey guys, I think you left your saxophone on the Tantive IV, I saw it up there. So in the new LEGO Star Wars, you can of course go listen to Figure and Dan and the modal nodes in the Cantina. But if you turn the music off, you can see them still playing in the background. So why is this important? Well, back in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, if you turned the game music off, the Cantina band would stop playing and stand there awkwardly, not knowing what to do. And for this one reason, The Complete Saga is better than the Skywalker Saga. I'm just joking. Great game. You can actually find Greedo in the back of the Cantina before Han kills him. But wait, Han doesn't actually kill Greedo in the Skywalker Saga. Just throws his blaster at him. But Han does, however, shoot first, true to the original. The animation style in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is quite different to other recent LEGO Star Wars animations. The show creators went for a stop-motion style of animation, similar to the original LEGO movie, which is inspired by the abundance of homemade LEGO stop-motion animations. Sig and Dev's last name is Greebling, which is actually a LEGO term. It's basically the process of adding extra detail to a LEGO build. For example, small studs, mechanical parts, and apparently this term was potentially coined by George Lucas. Adam Savage from Mythbusters probably explains this a lot better than I do.
By the way, Greebly is a term of art. It was George Lucas's term for the little nernies that go on a ship.
Kylo Ren appears in the intro as Sig is explaining the events of the Skywalker Saga, and of course, he is not wearing a shirt. I also really like that Sig says Rey is kind of a Skywalker. I'm not sure how you feel about the ending of The Rise of Skywalker, but this feels like a cheeky little jab at that.
Including Rey, who is kind of a Skywalker?
And speaking of cheeky little jabs, Mark Hamill is actually voicing Luke Skywalker in this series, and makes fun of him being cranky in The Last Jedi.
I'm cranky now. Get him, Rey!
On the beach of Niamos, we can see a KX security droid carrying 2 shore troopers, a KX security droid doing deadlifts. Didn't know KX security droids needed to lift weights, but sure, I thought they just lifted shore troopers. There's a stormtrooper doing bench press, another one doing barbell curls, another one doing pull-ups, a shore trooper doing dumbbell curls, a KX security droid carrying some delicious looking drinks, and this whole location is supposed to be a parody of Muscle Beach in Venice, Los Angeles, where I've actually been. Most of you probably know this location from GTA 5 though, if I'm being honest. That's where I knew it from. As Palpatine and Vader walk past their ship, this Aurebesh here says bus, and I'm pretty sure it is one of the same ships you see in the Galactic Star Cruiser. It's a little shuttle that departs from the main Galactic Star Cruiser ship. Palpatine admits to the sand thing coming to a beach planet being an honest mistake.
It was an honest mistake.
And also R2-D2 is wearing sunnies. Very appropriate, even though he only has one eye. He should just have a one-eye sunny. It's like Leela from Futurama. Here we can see BB-9E is being used as a disco ball, I guess because he's got the flashing lights. Now, do you guys remember Lumpy, Chewbacca's son from the original holiday special? A lot of bonding time shown. He's the main character pretty much of the holiday special. But anyway, some of Lumpy's sound effects and the Wookiee noises he makes in this are actually taken directly from the holiday special. They're pre-recorded from that, from 1978, and preserved and put into this, because that's just what the world needs more of. The holiday special, need more of this in all Star Wars media. Watching this back, Rey's lightsaber sound is actually the exact same sound it makes when she turns on her saber. It's kind of got that power-up noise just before the saber ignites. Pretty cool. Same as what we hear at the end of Rise of Skywalker. When Rey's facing Vader, she lifts the rocks up just like she did at the end of The Last Jedi. This is a reference to that. And here you'll actually hear a couple of LEGO Star Wars death sounds. These are from the original LEGO Star Wars the video game and LEGO Star Wars the Complete Saga. So Poe meets Vinay, who shows Poe the helmet of Ren. Vinay says the helmet belonged to the one who helped create Kylo Ren. That's this guy here, Ren. And he first appeared in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic series. They look pretty much the same, don't they? Lego and the comic. I like they've done the stubble. Now, the entire Ben Solo Kylo Ren story we get in Terrifying Tales is actually a parody of the 1987 cult film The Lost Boys. Look here, the title card is even the same. This is The Lost Boys, and this is The Lost Boy. That's why it also has that 1980s VHS style effect. This here is Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy, which we first saw in The Last Jedi. It looks pretty much exactly the same. Same point of view and everything, except daytime and nighttime. The Knights of Ren then make their entrance in their ship, this one here, which is called the Night Buzzard. And this ship is actually a real Lego set you can buy. And it also appeared in The Rise of Skywalker. All standing on the mountain. During Ben Solo's dream, Han Solo walks in and says,
"We're doing dream sequences now?"
I think this could be a reference to Han's appearance in The Rise of Skywalker, where he somehow just shows up as a vision on Kef Bir. This scene here is also pretty dark, seeing as though these are all the Padawans Kylo ends up killing when he and the Knights of Ren destroy Luke's academy. Just thought that was worth mentioning. All these dudes are, I mean, they're already kind of ghosts here, aren't they? But they're all going to be killed. So there are a bunch of references to the Lost Boys in this, like hanging from underneath the bridge. This was in the film. They did this as a rite of passage into the gang, and then falling into the mist below. Also, Figrin Dan without his shirt on playing the sax. This is a direct reference to this party from the film. This guy here playing pretty much the same note and song also. It's the same. So Kylo ends up killing Ren by crushing him under a bunch of rocks. He comments on rock stacking, just like Yoda taught Luke, and Ben was being a pro at while all the other Padawans were total noobs. But Ren's death was different to what happened in the comics, in which he was stabbed by Kylo. Luke comes out of the academy and says,
Ben?
Which is really similar to how Luke said this.
Ben Kenobi?
And then also this.
Ben?
So Sig is a nerf herder.
Scruffy looking nerf herder? Who are you calling a scruffy looking nerf herder? You! You are a scruffy looking nerf herder. We all are.
But he prefers the term,
I prefer nerf handler.
which of course is a reference to The Empire Strikes Back, where Princess Leia says this to Han Solo.
You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Hey, it is a noble profession.
And Sig is from the planet Phanessa, which is actually a Star Wars Legends planet created in 2003. And even in Star Wars Legends, the inhabitants of this planet were, in fact, nerf herders.
Who's scruffy looking?
As Sig returns to his house on Phanessa, you can see there is a Jedi book on his shelf. So clearly he actually has been studying in the ways of the Force.
How long has this been going on? Not that long. A few years.
The recreation of this scene from The Phantom Menace, where Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn take out a bunch of battle droids aboard the Trade Federation ship, you can see that the toxic gas or smoke from the original film in Lego version is actually Lego clouds of gas or smoke. They're actually Lego pieces. In Rebuild the Galaxy, the new Chancellor of the Republic is Salacious B. Crumb, and the other senators have been replaced by Sebulba and Babu Frick. And I just want to say for the record, these are definitely the people I want leading the galaxy. Salacious B. Crumb for Chancellor. During the Jedi Trench Run, this X-Wing becomes an A-Wing combined with a Jedi Starfighter that stops at a diner that appears to be similar to Dex's diner to get some takeaway. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy got this wrong. In this scene from the Geonosis Arena, before Anakin and Obi-Wan are transformed into Geonosians wielding lightsabers, I'm pretty sure they're the wrong Anakin and Obi-Wan. Because you see, this is supposed to be Attack of the Clones Anakin and Obi-Wan, and instead we have Revenge of the Sith Anakin and Obi-Wan. Anakin here is also supposed to be wielding a green lightsaber, but instead he is wielding blue. So Vader finally gets into the spirit of being on a holiday and starts playing volleyball with Palpatine using the Force. Not really sure how that works, seeing as though the laws of physics are completely abandoned when the Force comes into play. The whole way any sport works is because of physics, but having the Force completely negates that. You're using superpowers to play sport. You have an unfair, strange advantage. Case in point, Palpatine here is an absolute monster in the gym, a total gym junkie. The old man doesn't even have to touch the weights to lift them. What an absolute beast. Also, we got the fake stormtrooper here. It's good to see him. At one point, Palpatine gets buried in the sand. Finally, we don't have to look at his scary, wrinkled old body. I also didn't know Palpatine was an alcoholic. And Palpatine and Vader go jet skiing on these futuristic looking jet skis. Also, is Vader's suit waterproof? I feel like if he fell in the water, he would just completely sink because of how heavy the suit is. Can he go underwater? Is it like wearing a scuba diving suit? Does it have jet propellers built into his shoes that prevent him from sinking? These are questions I want answered about Vader's suit. How does he take a shower? I guess he doesn't shower. He prefers baths, just like Palpatine. They both like bathing. Now I understand why Vader was on top of the pool rather than in it. Perhaps it's not waterproof. Bit precarious being on top of the pool like that, wouldn't you say? You fall in and you're basically gonna die because either Palpatine's gonna electrocute you or you'll just drown. So R2-D2 eventually, from underneath the sand, steals the data card from Vader because he's distracted enjoying his holiday. Finally, Vader takes some time off and everything falls apart. But that wasn't enough for R2-D2. As we know, he's very cheeky and decides to reprogram the flight path of Vader and Palpatine. The two of them, the poor guys, they're feeling relaxed and refreshed after their holiday. Vader seems to have overcome his fear of sand finally after all these years. And what happens? Their ship crash lands on the ice planet Hoth. But worst of all, Palpatine doesn't have his cloak. He's still wearing his bathing suit. And I've never been more afraid of his creepy old wrinkled body. The chest hairs are still there for some reason. He's got dots on his chest. That's a mole. You might want to get that checked, Palpatine. Like seriously, what is with the moles on his chest? Like those dots? Are they like, what's the deal, guys? Really? Like, who made this minifigure and why are you showing me what's on Palpatine's chest? I am beyond terrified. So Palpatine's annoyed and angry that Vader has ruined the vacation, but also now lost the data card, and thinks things can't get any worse. But that is where your expectations will be thrown, my friends. Because you know who lives out in the snowfields on Hoth? This little guy and his big Wampa dad. Not only that, if you've already watched this, and you probably missed this right at the end, Palpatine literally shouts, "Eat him!" implying he wants the Wampa to eat Vader, and not Palpatine, to spare Palpatine. I guess Wampas tend to have a thing for the Skywalkers, seeing as though what happened with Luke in the cave and everything, and he cuts the Wampa's arm off. Maybe this Wampa is that Wampa's brother or something, and he's angry because, you know, his brother's arm got cut off for literally no reason at all. Luke's a Jedi, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take your arm off. But we all know that's the Jedi way. You might have recognized the pod racing announcers, and these are the actual original voice lines taken from The Phantom Menace. Fode and Bede Anaju is the name of the announcer, otherwise known as Fode and Bede. This double-headed creature, each head acting as its own person, as its own thing. And these characters were actually originally going to be two separate proper aliens, not CGI characters. And I'm pretty sure they were placed in the film without even telling the actors. Like, the actors saw the film come out and were like, hey, we've been completely replaced by CGI. Pretty funny getting CGI edited out of Star Wars. Their voices are still there though, so that's cool. Here you'll hear another Lego death sound. Very iconic, very common Lego death sound. I was really surprised when I heard them. Like, oh damn, I've heard that sound effect so many times. Now, you might recognize the clone troopers' voices.
Traffic duty. The worst.
The clones here are played by D. Bradley Baker, who also plays the clones in Captain Rex and every other clone in The Clone Wars TV show. So pretty cool seeing him come back for this. There's a couple other voice actors also in this, you'll notice. I'll talk more about them later. And the two clones here are actually on traffic duty. You'll see one of them has a donut in his hand, the other one a coffee. They're like the police of Seleucami, which is the planet you see here as well, and the only planet that's exclusively from The Clone Wars that appears in the holiday special. As the gang head deeper into the castle, here you can see a Phase 1 clone trooper helmet on the shelf. Look at the mouse droid! There's a little mouse droid, cool. Alright, then we get this epic room, which is like a lightsaber museum. Look at all the lightsabers! But the one we're interested in is the Saber of Skardont, an ancient Sith lightsaber which makes the users go mad, as Palpatine puts it. In case you're wondering, Skardont is a new location. As far as I know, it's never been mentioned before in Star Wars. Palpatine tells Grievous to locate the saber on the 6th moon of the Skardont system. During the dueling monstrosities, this scene of Maul being given legs by Mother Talzin and the Night Sisters is very similar to the scene from the Clone Wars, although the real legs given to Maul by Mother Talzin in the Clone Wars are similar to the ones he tries on first, which completely fail. He falls on his face. So instead, they try other legs, an Imperial probe droid, and the body of BB-9E. But Maul eventually ends up with the spider legs, which are like the ones he built for himself just after being sliced in half by Obi-Wan on Naboo. He held these pieced together using the Force as far as I know. So it's a little different to what happens in the Clone Wars and everything. This droid that's turning Grievous into a cyborg is EVA4D, a medical droid owned by Grievous, seen in the Clone Wars episode Lair of Grievous in Season 1. Now on the 6th moon of Skardont, Grievous is fighting a bunch of creatures to get the lightsaber. To me, these look like they could be Gundarks. The saber of Skardont's ignition sound is literally a scream. Now, I just need to mention the trash talking in the Darth Maul vs General Grievous fight is like nothing else. It begins with Grievous saying, "Too bad the saber can't be split in half, unlike you." Maul boasts about having the Force, Force spin, Force leap, then we get the tickling. General Grievous gets something caught in his throat, Force flip, Maul gets cut in half again. Then Grievous is all like, "A half Sith is no match for me, dude, savage." Then Maul remembers he has the Force. What is he messing around here for? "It appears you are unarmed. Don't have a leg to stand on." Grievous still coughing. "Perhaps you need a cough." Man, what incredible sludging. Grievous' medical droid says he'll warm up the oil bath. You might remember C-3PO taking an oil bath in A New Hope. Character that's referred to as Darth Hammerhead in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is actually Rusty, the Ithorian from LEGO Star Wars Droid Tales. The Gonk droid from LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is called Servo. He's played by Australian actor Michael Cusack.
You're a legend, mate!
And in the series, the Gonk droid has an Australian accent, which I think is why he has the name Servo. In Australia, Servo is basically short for service station, otherwise known as gas or petrol station, and Gonk droids are kind of the fuel of the Star Wars galaxy. It's basically a giant battery that they plug into the ship to give it more power, more fuel, more gas. And fun fact, in Australia, if you Google the word servo, it will actually show you service stations that are nearby your location.
You upgraded my linguistic abilities! Yay!
This Aurebesh writing here says Mos Eisley Marina, which of course has been transformed from the Mos Eisley spaceport. And another fun fact, this version of Tatooine is covered in water. It's basically a beach planet. And originally Tatooine had an abundance of water, but I think due to global warming and other factors, it became the dry barren desert that we know and love. Max Rebo's pod racer is built out of the keyboard or organ we see him play in Return of the Jedi. And during the pod race, Luke says the line,
"See you around, kid!"
which is what he also said in The Last Jedi to Kylo Ren.
See you around, kid.
Zori Bliss is in the cantina in the Mos Eisley Marina. Also, droids are allowed in this version of the cantina, and this is a droideka that is serving blue milk. Did you guys notice the Gamorrean that pushes the IG droid behind the counter of the cantina bar? Well, this is kind of funny and ironic because the IG droid's head is actually the same exact piece that was used in the Mos Eisley cantina for the drink dispensers. They repurposed this for The Empire Strikes Back, so really the Gamorrean here is just putting the drink canister back where it belongs. Obi-Wan doesn't get any speaking lines in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, but we do get Rey making up for it with this line.
Hello there.
Also, all of the Mon Calamari clones say the same thing. Did you guys recognize the small prison that Sig builds around Dark Rey? This is the Mandalorian vault we see Darth Maul in during the Clone Wars Season 7. Right about here, you'll hear more LEGO death sounds from the original games and other LEGO titles. And as Rey and Vader are falling here and constantly switching between portals, going to different dimensions and different times, there's a few things that happen. Han Solo drops in here, and here we can see Mace Windu and Yoda, I'm pretty sure. And then everyone crashes and flops on the ground, and we're left with one giant pile of Star Wars characters. So, from left to right, here's everyone I could see. There's Darth Maul there, there's a battle droid. This is Obi-Wan from the Attack of the Clones. There's a stormtrooper, the snow troopers. Han Solo's here, regular, normal Han Solo. This is Obi-Wan from The Phantom Menace, Padawan Obi-Wan. Princess Leia from A New Hope. There's little boy Annie. Mace Windu. Anakin from Return of the Jedi. Obi-Wan from Return of the Jedi. Here's Sebulba. There's Darth Vader, Rey, of course. This is Anakin after he's become Darth Vader, but before he goes into the suit and gets the red lightsaber. Angry Anakin, I call this one. This is old Han Solo, Greedo. There's a clone trooper, there's a scout trooper in here somewhere, a jet trooper, and I'm not sure who this is here with their back to us. They got long hair. I'm thinking maybe it's Padme, perhaps. Here you see a Sith trooper and a Death trooper swap their helmets back. And skipping ahead, this scene here where Kylo enters shirtless, This is a direct reference to Tom Cruise from Risky Business, who makes that classic slide-in entrance. Now, when Vader and Palpatine show up at Kylo Ren's place, they realize Kylo's got a few posters up on his wall, all about Darth Vader. In this one here, Darth Vader has a skull on his shirt, or on his front, that I'm pretty sure is a reference to Coco, that Disney movie that came out a few years ago. Very colorful, vibrant, cool movie. I like that one. This here is the Lego battle damaged Darth Vader from the Force Unleashed set with Galen Marek or Starkiller. Pretty sure that's the only time this minifigure got released, with the Starkiller pack. While waiting, Palpatine is using the Force to play with one of his royal guards. He's like spinning him in the air. Then when Maul arrives, he just drops him. This here is the first temple of Mustafar. Vader's fortress was actually built on top of this because Sidious knew about this place. The throne in here also looks kind of similar to the one in Rise of Skywalker, right? Palp's chair, you know, he likes his chairs, likes sitting in a chair staring out the window. Then we get the Wookiee's paw, and this title card is made to look like the one from the Twilight Zone. Luke is drinking blue milk, just like he is in the Skywalker Saga trailer. On Tatooine, we can see an Imperial light cruiser in the sky, which is similar to the one used by Moff Gideon. Also, Gonk Droid! Confirmed, there it is, yes. And as Luke is complaining about how he never gets what he wants, all that, a group of Jawas actually steal his land speeder right before he talks to Watto. Can't believe Watto sells him, or gives him the Wookiee's paw. That's hilarious. Watto's here. Luke hitting his head on this door is obviously a reference to this clumsy bucket head. Poor dude. Can't see a thing in this helmet. This Imperial says,
"He looks too short to be a stormtrooper anyway."
This is what Leia said to Luke when he came to rescue her from the prison cell on the Death Star.
A little short for a stormtrooper.
I'm sure you probably all noticed this, but I just have to mention it. Luke running through the Death Star halls with Vader on his back instead of training with Yoda on his back on Dagobah. I love how it's all playing out the same. Luke's training is identical. And the Leia kiss.
For luck.
Even the music here is the same as A New Hope. Brilliant. Man, what a scene. During the Death Star sequence, Obi-Wan says this.
"I'm hit. I can't stay with you."
This is what Wedge says in A New Hope during the trench run.
"I'm hit. I can't stay with you."
So Obi-Wan has replaced Wedge, and then Leia says what Luke says.
"Get clear, Obi-Wan. You can't do any more good back there."
"Get clear, Wedge. You can't do any more good back there."
Finally, we have a Jawa that is a Sith Lord. Instead of yellow eyes, he has red eyes, and I've been saying for many, many years that the Jawas are truly Sith Lords in disguise. No one knows what's under that cloak, but to me, they look like pure evil. Also, apparently this is Darth Jyn Erso. Dark Rey, of course, has a double-bladed lightsaber, and she spins this with only one hand in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, by literally just spinning around her hand. And this reminded me a lot of how the Inquisitors use lightsabers. Did you notice that Luke is actually driving Anakin's pod racer in this series?
This is pod racing.
Like father, like son.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational Dark Falcon.
It's the same as what Palpatine says in Return of the Jedi, but he says,
"Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station."
However, the Dark Falcon is nowhere near as powerful as the Death Star, as it doesn't completely destroy the entire planet upon being fired. Okay, so why is Greedo invited to the party? This is Greedo, right? Why is he here? Isn't he dead by this point? Like, there's no time traveling in this part of the story. Why is Greedo here? Is this another Rodian? Babu Frick is behind Zori Bliss when she makes her entrance. You might not have seen him, little guy there. And when Rey figures out time travel within the cave without using the crystal itself, little thing she's been using the whole time, this here looks like the cave on Ilum in the Clone Wars, when Yoda and Ahsoka take a bunch of Padawans to find their lightsaber crystals. In Palpatine's chambers, Palpatine has a training lightsaber, which he uses to point at this diagram on the wall, which shows the hierarchy of the Empire. We've got Palpatine at the top, then Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, so Kylo's above Darth Vader. I guess Supreme Leader does come above second in command. I think these are two Moffs or two, I don't know, officers or something like that. Admirals, not sure. This here is Hux. Then we have an Imperial Guard, Stormtrooper, another Stormtrooper, and an Imperial officer. Rey seems to be taking a few notes out of Cal's book from Jedi Fallen Order. She does a full-on wall run here that I'm going to say is totally inspired by Cal, 100%. And then this shot you see here is a reference to the one from The Force Awakens where Rey grabs her lightsaber as it flies past Kylo as he also tries to force grab it, force pull it. And Kylo's like, should have seen that coming. Yeah, man, you should have.
Really should have seen that coming.
You probably noticed Vader stripped off his top at the end of this to reveal his festive knitted sweater. And Palpatine's like,
Hey, what's with the sweater?
this is the Darth Vader that comes with the LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar this year. Darth Vader in a Christmas sweater. Now this scene of Palpatine falling down the trench as he falls to his death is a direct reference to the Robot Chicken version of this. Palpatine falling here, the Who starts playing, and he starts looking back over his life and realizing he should have been a better person, basically. He has a moment of realization and pledges to become a better person. Unfortunately also falls to his death, obviously. But I can't believe they're referencing Robot Chicken. Also, the two stormtroopers sitting here is straight up something out of Robot Chicken. They're just like hanging, they see Palpatine falling past. Same thing happens in the Robot Chicken version. I love the change of heart. Although there's no Darth Jar Jar in the holiday special version. Okay, so once all the battle droids go possessed, Grabala is hiding from them in the bathroom, and this droid breaks through the door, which I think is the only wooden thing in the entire castle just for this.
1496-1138.
This is a reference to Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Here's Johnny!
Also, there's a rubber ducky next to the toilet as Grabala exits, and I have one question. Did Grabala use the bathroom while he was in here? Does this place stink? Today's death is a parody of Gollum's death in Lord of the Rings. Gollum falling while holding the ring, and then Vinay falling while diving after the Sith holocron. And then both of them melting into the lava. Although I'm not sure Vinay actually died. I just want to say, guys, there is no way Darth Jar Jar is dead. He will live another day. He has just retreated back into the shadows for now. The Jedi Council in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy includes Jedi Master Palpatine, Jedi Vader, Jedi Jabba the Hutt, Jedi Cad Bane, Jedi IG-88, Jedi Count Dooku, who is a Jedi originally anyway, so I guess he just didn't turn to the dark side, Jedi Lobot, and Jedi Janna. Princess Leia is flying Kylo Ren's command shuttle that I think is combined with another ship I can't recognize, but it's kind of funny because Leia is of course Kylo's mum, and she's flying her son's ship. In LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, Han Solo is wearing Greedo's clothes, and Greedo is wearing Han Solo's clothes, with Princess Leia being in love with Greedo instead of Han Solo. But what's even funnier is that Han Solo says,
Greedo shot his shot first.
which is the opposite of the original Star Wars where Han is the one to shoot first.
Yes, I bet you have.
The Separator Star Destroyer is modeled after the LEGO Separator tool that's used to take apart those pesky LEGO pieces. After defeating a Mon Calamari clone trooper, Yoda says,
A trap it is.
Mace Windu kicks one of the Mon Cala clones into a ray shield. You can actually see the clone skeleton as he's being electrocuted. Jedi Vader's chest lights are blue and green instead of the normal red and green on the regular Darth Vader. During their lightsaber duel, Dev throws Kit Fisto into the side of the ship here. The wall falls away, revealing two Mon Calas having tea together. I really love that Dev says this to Rey.
You were no one when I found you. And you're still no one.
Which I think is a cheeky jab at Rey's origin story in the sequels.
Who are you?
No one.
Palpatine says the line, guys.
Do it.
Jedi Bob and Sig crash landing and sliding into this hangar is similar to Anakin and Obi-Wan doing this at the start of Revenge of the Sith. There's a couple of decorations hanging on the Life Day tree here. You can see an X-Wing, there's a Naboo starfighter, and this, I think, is the Slave One, Boba Fett's ship. And throughout the entire LEGO Holiday Special, you might have noticed some more familiar voices. Darth Vader is played by Matt Sloan, who's voiced Darth Vader in so many recent Star Wars video games, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, some of the other TV shows, a bunch of stuff.
Death Star 2 feels kind of derivative.
James Arnold Taylor plays Obi-Wan, who also plays him in the Clone Wars.
And hate leads to... I know what it leads to!
Kelly Marie Tran plays Rose Tico, who is Rose Tico. She is Rose Tico in The Last Jedi. It's the actual actress. Same with Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian, Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, and then we have Tom Kane playing Yoda and Qui-Gon. He also plays them in the Clone Wars. And then this excellent performance of Emperor Palpatine. Really enjoyed. Kind of a different version, but I think it's clear he's also inspired by Seth MacFarlane's version from Robot Chicken. It's Trevor Duvall. At the beginning of LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga's third third episode, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan's Jedi starfighters maneuver through the war-torn space above Coruscant. And if you look to the left of the screen at this moment, keen-eyed players will be able to spot a clone trooper screaming as he hurls into space while punching a B-2 series battle droid. One of the most interesting secret conversations in the game is between Jabba the Hutt and Leia Organa. If the player selects these two characters to be on screen next to each other, Jabba will speak Huttese, and subtitles will appear that say, "I am both ashamed and embarrassed of my actions. Please accept my apologies." And I'm assuming this is talking about him taking her as a slave, and also making her wear the slave Leia outfit. And with some of these references also comes Easter eggs. In a mission called Untitled Orback Game, which is a reference to Untitled Goose Game, you can find a horse standing on a roof, which is a reference to The Witcher 3's famous glitch. In The Rise of Skywalker, during the final level, Palpatine says he always wanted Rey to be called Kira, which is a reference to the original concepts for The Force Awakens.
I wanted them to call you Kira. Something so much cooler.
With Sith Rey and one specific costume for Kylo Ren, Sith Rey can have an interaction with Kylo Ren that's a reference to Greece.
Rey?
Tell me about it, Sith.
Sandy?
Tell me about it, Stern.
An old TT Games paw print logo appears on the hint droid. The taxi mission in the Federal District on Coruscant has a crazy taxi reference, where this guy says,
I'm off to make some crazy money! Yeah!
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready?
The iconic New York lunch atop a skyscraper photo features in the Obi-Wan vs. Anakin boss fight. You can see 2 or 3 clone troopers sitting on the girder drinking from mugs. They took out Lego Yoda's death sound from the old Lego Star Wars. Truly a tragedy, so I fixed it with this edit. Boba Fett is played by Daniel Logan, who played young Boba in episode 2 in the movie, and also voices him in the Clone Wars.
That's some nice armor.
Get him, Dad! Get him! Fire!
There is an actual Easter egg on Hoth. For a game that's full of Easter eggs, this is an amazing joke. When Han and Chewie are planning explosives on Starkiller Base, you can find a cardboard box to hide and sneak around in, a reference to the Metal Gear Solid games. There are also a couple Spaceballs references, one where Jabba is called Pizza the Hutt, and another scene in The Empire Strikes Back where C-3PO is wearing a wig, where he looks nearly identical to the female C-3PO from Spaceballs. On Dagobah, one of the puzzles is named Swing from the Hairy Vine, which is a reference to a parody YouTube video of a bad lip read of Yoda.
Swing from a hairy vine.
The interaction between Obi-Wan and Maul, where Obi-Wan tells Maul that he looks taller than the last time he saw him, is not only a reference to Maul getting chopped in half, but also a reference to the Clone Wars TV show. When Maul comes back and Obi-Wan confronts him for the first time, he says something along the lines of,
I like your new legs. They make you look taller.
Beaumont Kin gives the second breakfast side quest, and he was played by Dominic Monaghan, who also played Merry in Lord of the Rings. If you go to Naboo and you climb the tallest tower to collect a Kyber brick, it's named Leap of Faith, which is a reference to the Assassin's Creed games. Always climb in tower. That's all you do in Assassin's Creed. All you do is climb. Climbing a watchtower. The Assassin's Creed experience. Palpatine's boss text in Rise of Skywalker says, yes, him again.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Do I look impressed? No. During the Kijimi level, when you sneak by the enemies near the finish, Poe will reference the Metal Gear Solid series by saying,
We kept you waiting, huh?
Kept you waiting, huh?
The line, "Why does this always happen when I take a bath?" said by a stormtrooper taking a bath,
Why does this always happen when I take a bath?
seems to be a reference to the running joke of Cleveland Brown always getting his house destroyed every time he's in a bath in Family Guy. No. You can actually find old LEGO Star Wars games in the Skywalker Saga. LEGO Star Wars 1 can be found on Naboo in the Lake Payonga map, LEGO Star Wars 2 can be found on the Tantive IV mission, and the Force Awakens game can be found on Takodana in Mars's Castle. If you're tired of losing studs after you fall into holes, you can actually disable it in the menu. Go to Gameplay Options and enable Fall Recovery. The Skywalker Saga has a lot of side content, which can also lead to secret boss fights. For example, there's a quest from Yaddle, which will lead to a fight with a Krayt Dragon. You can also fight bosses like Funky Snoke, Lava Eel, the Catastrophinator, and a lot more. There's also a secret boss called TT 2005, who's a reference to the game's developers, TT Games, with 2005 standing as the year TT Games released the first LEGO Star Wars the video game. And speaking of references, the Skywalker Saga is filled with them. You can find, for example, the Ark of the Covenant from Raiders of of the Lost Ark. How often do I talk about Indiana Jones? Like never. There's an Indiana Jones reference in the video. We're wearing the t-shirt. We got the t-shirt going. There's also references to TV shows and films in the names of missions, like Better Call Saul, for example. Raiders of the Great Temple, Teenage Mutant Ninja Woolamanders. In the mission Nightmares from Episode 2, Padme will ask Anakin if there was a lot of sand in his dream due to him being so worked up.
I haven't seen you this worked up before. Was there a lot of sand in your dream?
Yes, a considerable amount, but that's not the point.
Which is obviously a reference to Anakin's ongoing hatred of sand.
I don't like sand.
Kylo might have the daddy issues, but Anakin clearly has the sandophobia. In Vader and Luke's duel from Episode 5, you can find stormtroopers working out in pink spandex.
411. Whoa, sorry fellas.
In that same level, you can find a room full of Lando's famous capes and garments. This is my favorite room in the entire game. His whole wardrobe's in here. Think of the possibilities. Fashion design. If you pair Anakin and Darth Vader together, young Anakin will say,
"Whoa, that's a cool suit. Where can I get one of those?"
To which Vader will reply,
"Patience, child. Patience."
And if you pair Kylo daddy issues with Vader sand issues, Kylo will become the biggest fanboy ever.
It's you. Okay, come on, Ben. Keep it together.
There are plenty of references to the infamous scene where Kylo Ren has his shirt off. And one of these references is when you pair Rey and Kylo together, where Rey will say,
"Why does this keep happening? Don't you own a shirt?"
The breeze. It's liberating.
There's a rare achievement, which I'm pretty sure I haven't completed, called I've Never Seen a Real One, where you have to ride all mountable creatures in the game. There is a creepy silver protocol droid that you can find called Nobot on Tatooine. Locals say that the droid roams the sands of Tatooine, and if he's destroyed, he comes back no matter what. I made a full video about him a while back. Would definitely recommend that. It's very scary. Star Wars horror stories. In Episode 3, when Obi-Wan is hiding from Commander Cody after Order 66, he'll hide underneath the balcony, and this is a reference to Spider-Man from 2002, the film. In The Force Awakens, when the infamous traitor stormtrooper is swinging around his baton, flourishing and showing off, Han nearly shoots him outright. And this is a reference to Indiana Jones, who does the same thing to a swordsman in The Raiders of the Lost Ark. Two Indiana Jones references in one I swear this wasn't planned. I haven't worn this t-shirt in months. What's the deal? In Episode 1, when Amidala reveals herself, many others say the name. And this is a reference to the Stanley Kubrick film, Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus.
I am Queen Amidala. I am Queen Amidala.
No, I am Queen Amidala.
Dobra Queen Amidala.
In Episode 6, when C-3PO and R2-D2 are heading towards Jabba's palace, you can see two skeletons holding a flag. The Aurebesh on the flag says Hidden Fortress, and this is a reference to the Japanese film by the same name that heavily influenced George Lucas when making Star Wars. In the Better Call Saul level, you can find a band of droids playing music, and if you choose to attack the peaceful band, the music will become more climactic, making the scene much more dramatic. The Bothan incident was foreshadowed in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. While you were playing through the Return of the Jedi episode, notice the digits on the counter during a cutscene with Mon Mothma as they reset to 0, showing the remaining days in the Bothan incident. The retirement party of one of these poor battle droids was intruded on and totally crashed by Obi-Wan and Anakin during the Revenge of the Sith. This party was actually pre-planned by Grievous, and one of the battle droids has a message history between these two, which is revealed in the game for a few seconds. Texting General Grievous.